One more time to Hot Roster today. Gary and Cam still with you. And if you've been keeping track at home and watching all week, you can probably figure out what we're about to do next. We have another Hot Roster today card, which means it is card number 1, 2, 3. And we're breaking it down with Corey Parson, the fantasy exec of Fantasy Sports Radio. How's it going, Corey?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How's everybody doing today? Getting ready to knock out another one of these cards. Hopefully we can get some good luck.
Yeah,
yes.
doing well, Corey, and it's always good to talk to you about this. So let's start with a big matchup of wide receivers on the docket for Week 9. Dez Bryant against Brandon Marshall. Ooh. Marshall comes in as the half-point fantasy underdog. Kind of interesting, both these guys are catching under 50% of their targets so far this season, Corey. So which one takes more advantage of those opportunities on Sunday?
You got to like Dez Bryant in this matchup on Sunday. You know the Cowboys want to take the air out the football, give the ball to Ezekiel Elliott in a classic trap game and get out there with the W. But I also think it's some situation where you want to get Dez Bryant involved in the football game. You want Dak and Dez to get that thing rolling before we head into playoff time for the Dallas Cowboys, which I'm surprised to be saying. So unless you want to see Tony Romo back underneath the center throwing the football to Dez Bryant, this is a good week against a poor defense to get Dez Bryant rolling. So I think I'd like Dez in this one.
Well, Corey, we've been talking all week about, Blake Bortles and Allen Robinson, real disappointments this year in fantasy. Allen Robinson, no 100-yard games. He's killing his owners right now. As for Brandon Cooks, he's a 1.5-point favorite. The thing I like about Cooks, he's a pretty streaky guy. He's got a touchdown in 3 straight games, a couple 100-plus yard games as well. I kind of lean Cooks. You look at the matchup against San Francisco. Robinson at KC Arrowhead. I don't care if Nick Foles is the quarterback there. I'm leaning with Cooks in this one. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Cooks in this one, too. Listen, this is, you know how boom or bust Cooks can be, but this is a situation where I think Brandon Cooks can get out against the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, not looking for the PPR in this one. You're looking for the big explosive touchdown plays, and that's exactly what Brandon Cooks can give you. As far as Allen Robinson goes, listen, he's a high underdog in this one, and he kind of deserves to be, not because of anything that he's done, but because, like we say, our guy Blake Bortles is stinking to join up.
Yeah, it's been
rough go. Blake Bortles every show this week. You know that, right?
Hey, man, he deserves it.
They just throw him to Cam. They just want to hear what Cam's going to say about Blake Bortles.
Oh, he's
next,
killing
honestly.
me. Yeah, he's killing me.
Your head's going to explode. It's a little more red than usual when you talk about Blake Bortles, which is kind of crazy. Corey, let's talk a little bit about some another wide receiver matchup that's kind of interesting on the board here. Dante Moncrief against Jordan Matthews. If you had asked me about this matchup yesterday when T.Y. Hilton came out and said that he couldn't even confirm he was going to play this weekend, it would seem like every fiber of your being would want to put this on Dante Moncrief. But Hilton practiced in full yesterday. Seems like he's going to play in that game against the Packers. So is there going to be enough to go around for Moncrief to beat out Jordan Matthews, even if Hilton's playing?
Yeah, I think it will be. And the T.Y. Hilton situation is crazy. 2 days ago, he was like, I can barely walk. And then yesterday, he was practicing full. Looked like he's good to go. He could be a decoy this week, so be careful with that, all the other owners in season-long leagues out there. But as far as Dante Moncrief goes this week, like the matchup, and it's enough to go around. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Football is going to be flying up and down the field between the Green Bay Packers and Indianapolis Colts this week. So I'm going to go with Dante Moncrief. I think he hits Pater again this week.
Corey, I'm a different kind of guy. You know, people like these marquee matchups. I kind of like this matchup. It's ugly, it's dirty, it's Eric Ebron versus Gary Barnidge, a battle of the tight ends. And when you break it down, it's kind of interesting, too. Barnidge averaging 50 yards a game, Ebron about 58. Ebron 1 touchdown, Barnidge none. But I don't know. Sometimes I kind of like the situation here. I know Dallas likes to tick, and run the ball against Cleveland this week, but Detroit and Minnesota, that's a tough matchup for Ebron. You know the Vikings are going to be really pissed off. I'm crazy. Am I nuts? I like Gary Barnidge as one of my favorite plays on Hot Roster. What are you thinking?
I think this Barnidge play right here is a good look, especially considering the fact Eric Ebron going up against a Minnesota Viking team that was kind of embarrassed last week. Now, what I will say to you about this is Cody Kessler is likely going to be the starting quarterback this week. I have no clue why in the hell they would do that. But with that being said, I still do like Gary Barnidge to cover this one right here. So Barnidge is the play for me. Even though Cody Kessler is the QB, I think Eric Ebron may struggle this week. This looks like easy money right here.
Yeah, that one seems
I love this matchup.
Pretty interesting.
I love it.
Getting a point with Barnidge, too, is kind of crazy. Okay, before we get you out of here, Corey, let's talk about some actual quarterbacks on a matchup this week for Hot Roster. We got Cam Newton against the Rams going up against Phillip Rivers against the Titans. Rivers is a 1-point underdog in this matchup. And, I mean, we talk all the time about how the Chargers offense has been fantastic so far this season. And Rivers getting the opportunities. His last 2 games, attempts above 44, up at 47 in their last contest as well. But 3 straight weeks of returning less than 16 fantasy points. Does he break out of that slump this week and beat Cam Newton?
Here's the thing about it. His wide receiver situation is kind of crazy. 3 inconsistent wide receiver threes going to bat for him. Plus, you've got some injury situations this week they're looking at also. But you know what? When I look at this card, I really don't like the Panthers on the road, especially with Cam Newton being that 1-point favorite. I think it's a little bit closer, maybe even a push, but I will go with Phil Rivers on this one against the Tennessee Titans at home.
We talk about it all the time, Cam. It's hard to not take Phil as an underdog.
It is. It's weird seeing Dontrell Inman, former Toronto Argonaut receiver, running patterns for the San Diego Chargers.
Unless you're Cam Wake, you never want to see former CFL player next to a guy's name in the NFL. It's generally not good news. Corey, thanks as always for taking the time. We'll catch back up with you next week. And yeah, everyone listen to Corey on Fantasy Sports Radio. Thanks, Corey.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. Have a good weekend, and we'll be getting ready for Week 10 next week.
Oh, yeah, and good luck in Week 9 and all your season-long, Corey, as well. Cam?
Yep.
When we come back on Hot Roster today, I know generally we're either breaking down the NBA or the NHL, and, you know, it seems like sometimes you can just do both. So let's do both when we come back. We'll break down an NHL card available to you and some NBA props that are of our own construction.